Geriatric Millennials. This is Jayme.
And this is Beth.
And we are two oldish, youngish ladies talking about back to school, the joys and woes.
The woes are real for me. You know that's how I roll. So
Yes, and it's opposite for me. I was like, oh, I have like a long list of joys. Now I have to really think about the woes.
Well, my first woe is just the illnesses that come with back to school. I don't even have children. I'm not around students, but like we literally are having to record this remotely because someone gave me the Rona. So
The Rona.
Not too happy about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So we may sound a little different in this episode.
Yeah.
Because we're doing a different format.
Yes.
Of recording.
Yes, which it's fine. It's not the same as being able to hug you and like, laugh in our little baby podcast studio in my office and just, kick it. But This is great too, and it's much safer. So anyway.
Yeah, I don't really, I'm not, it's never a convenient time to get COVID.
No, especially now. It just feels so like, really, we're still doing that? That seems so like lame and right at the end of summer and like beginning of fall. It's the wrong time. So weird.
Yeah. It's so 4 years ago, Beth.
Right? I'm officially a lame person now. Anyway, I'm actually a big fan of back to school. Like I love this season. Like I love it when like the stores start putting out the back to school stuff and I see like all the pins and pencils go up. I'm here for it.
Uh-huh. You know what's so interesting to me? I was in Walmart very recently, and they had an entire wall of these clear tubs with the lid, and they were pink, but it was like every shelf, every wall, like the whole thing was just all those. And I was like, why did they do that? I thought that was weird.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Somebody
had that was so weird.
Somebody had a unique design aesthetic, I guess.
I don't know. I was just like, there is a whole wall of pink storage tubs, like
maybe they're
close
just
to the school supplies.
Maybe they're just waiting for
like a filler, like a space filler,
or they're thinking
like
the college
all the school supplies were gone.
The college girlies are getting ready to, pack it up.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I thought it was very strange. I thought maybe you'd know why, but okay.
I have no idea. I have to say, like my very first thing that I love about this season is like the first day back photos. Like you posted yours, kids. I had a big old cheesy grin on my face. I was like, look at them. They're so grown.
I know.
I think it's so cute.
It's so weird. I could not get my oldest to smile this year. Looking back, I did somehow get him to smile last year, and I just didn't have the right trick up my sleeve this year. But I actually took my kids' photos on the second day of school.
You caught to it, though.
And I know, I did. I wrote the paper because I always have them hold this little sign that says like first day of whatever grade. And so I wrote it because I was like, we're just going to pretend it's the first day because I was out of town. I was actually out of town on their first day. And they were fine. And their dad was with them and their grandma and whatever. But like they didn't get the right pictures, like our traditional pictures. So anyways, second day of school. So I'm like, I write their signs. And then I was like, but it's not their actual first day. So then I had to put like in brackets underneath, actually the second day, but who cares? And so anyway, yeah, I love actually taking those and being able to look back over the years because it's so funny. With our door, we have like a little window on the top of the door and like you can like every year you can see like the difference of where their head is in relation to that window. And it depends on the angle that I'm taking the photo at, of course, as well. But it's like you can just see them like getting closer and closer to the window. And of course, my oldest is like the window's literally like behind his head. And so anyways, I love those back to school pictures too. And I love seeing them from people that I don't live near anymore. But I knew their kids when they were little and now they're so huge. And it's just, it's fun. It's really fun to see those pictures.
I like to see my friends' kids, like, a lot of people that, high school friends or middle school, elementary school friends that you're just kind of like social media friends at this point. But I love to see their kids and how like, oh my gosh, you look like your mom did. Or I see the little I see the things that you picked up from your dad or whoever. So I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, it's a good one. Well, one of the things that brings me joy, it's kind of like a double edge. I feel like all of these are like double edged. Like they're a joy, but like the flip side is a woe.
Mhm.
And, you know, one of the first things that comes to mind is just like getting back into a routine.
Mm.
Summer is just like it's kind of like a free for all at my house. And I mean, kids sleep in, they're up late. We don't have a really consistent routine at all. Like it's just more of a free for all, and people are on their own for when they're going to eat at meal times. Like I'll still make meals, but like half the time so and so's not home or so and so's still sleeping or whatever. And so anyways, getting back to routine feels good to like kind of rein it in, kind of get back to like a little bit more structure in everyone's life. But on the flip side of that, it kind of makes me sad that like we're not as free.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
joy,
mean,
joy slash woe.
I love it because, like, there's times where, like, maybe I'm working from home, I'm off early. I go to a store or something, and during the summer, I'm like, where are all these children coming from? What? Why aren't you in school? I'm the lady with the
Yeah.
cane shaking it at the kids, like, get off my lawn because, like, I just want to go to the Target in peace, and instead it's, a Thursday at, 1 o'clock, and all of a sudden these little rugrats are like running in
Oh,
the
it's prime
aisles,
time.
or
It's
they're
prime
like trying to
time.
do TikTok videos or whatever, which I'm here for. You live your lives. Like, I'm all about like kids having a little bit of shenanigans, but I need you to shenanigan out of my aisle. Like, I need you to
Yeah.
walk away so I can just have my target time, not to be too cliche millennial. Uh anyway, it's just like,
Okay,
so
well,
I do
you are
like
getting
that.
that back.
I do like that. I like that, like, oh, okay, I can go to the grocery store somewhere and it's just like not mayhem. Like, cuz sometimes in the summer it gets a little bit much. And
Yeah.
I feel for like the parents that are out there like just having to, bring that kid everywhere, bring those kids everywhere cuz, daycare is expensive. You can't just get a babysitter to go to Costco necessarily. But it's like I'm glad to see them back in school, getting educated
Yeah.
and out of my
Yeah.
aisles. Mhm.
Oh, that's so funny. Another thing that I thought of when I was thinking about this was the earlier bedtimes. And that
Mm.
is because all summer long, I am like going to bed earlier than my kids or they're going to bed at the same time as me or something weird like that, which was
Yeah.
never the case when they were younger. I think it's also just the season of life I'm in. Like I have older
Mhm.
kids now, so they
Mhm.
stay up late. And I was the kind of parent that had my kid because my kids were early risers. I was like, "You're getting up early, you're going to bed early."
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like, and I had the power to do that. I was like, when they're like toddlers and stuff, I'm like, your bedtime is 6:30. Like my
Mhm.
kids went to bed at like 6:30,
Mhm.
PM. They're like in bed because they were also up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning or whatever. Anyway, so it's a different season of life now. But like now that school has started, like they cannot be up till 1 o'clock in the morning and then still go to
Function.
school. Like
Yeah.
they have to adjust, and I have to like help facilitate that. It's
Mhm.
kind of a rough transition though. Like going from I mean everyone's just exhausted
Yeah.
right now
Yeah.
because they're like not used to it yet. And so they still want to stay up late, but then it's like you have to actually get up in
Yeah.
the morning.
And you have more responsibilities. Like, get that homework done, please.
Yeah. So
And
like one of
sports.
my
Jeez.
yes, oh my gosh. So my oldest, he actually had a job this summer at a camp, and I know like he had to wake up early. And so that was great. So he didn't have like the entire summer
Mhm.
where he was sleeping in, but this last month or so, it's been that like that for him. So, anyways, sports too. Yes,
Mhm.
like everyone it's like they're doing everything, but now they just have to do it on less sleep, and that's not
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say other than it's earlier bedtimes. People need to go to bed earlier. And I
Fair.
feel like that is to me, that's like a joy. The woe side of that is that I have to try to enforce that. I have to try to like make it happen.
Yeah.
And that's
Nobody wants to be
not the
that.
funnest. What else?
Another thing that really gets me excited about back to school. Again, I don't have kids, so this is all just through like muscle memory, but it makes me feel like there should be a book fair. Like, it makes me feel,
Oh,
and then it just, for whatever reason, that feeling of like crisp air and like a scholastic book fair is in the air makes me be like, you know what, I should go. Barnes and Noble. I should treat myself to some books. Am I supposed to buy books right now? No, because I'm reading through all the books I own. Do I continue to buy new books? Yes. It's not my
yes.
fault though, because it's not my fault because I have gotten a couple gift cards, and I feel like if I get a gift card, that does not count as my own money buying books.
Absolutely
Now,
not.
when I got the gift card, it was for like a rebate for something. So I got to choose where the gift card was from. I could have picked Target and bought sensible things. I could have picked Sephora and picked beauty. But no, I picked Barnes and Nobles because I know I'm not allowed to shop there right now. So it's like my own private book fair funded by free money, essentially, you
I
know,
love that. I
so
love that so
so
much for
good.
you. I will say that this book fair, personally, I'm not a fan. I am not a fan because I then am expected, like, my kid wants all this stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, that's what libraries are for. Like, I am not going to spend an arm and a leg for you to have this book. Like, I get annoyed and so I think I'm done with them because I don't have any kids in elementary anymore.
Yeah,
And I
you're
don't think
done.
they do book fairs in middle
No, they
school.
don't. Yeah.
So,
You're
I mean, I'm not trying to like rain on your parade. I'm happy for you.
oh,
But as a parent, I'm just like, I don't like book fairs. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. That's
I
what I
do
think.
feel a little bit of this might be a cultural thing. Because did you guys have book fairs growing up in elementary school?
I don't remember.
So no,
Probably
you would
not. It's not
remember.
part of my culture.
It's
This is
so
not part of my
that's
culture.
it's not part of your culture.
Therefore, I
You're
I
annoyed. You're
reject
rejecting
this.
it. Yes.
I am not accepting this or adopting this as part of my culture.
Yeah.
It's part of my children's culture, but now I've influenced it and I have contaminated it and I have
Yes.
not made it. I
I'm
have given them in advance. I said, oh, it's book fair week. You're not going.
I just want to tell
Is that
you,
horrible?
yes, it is, honestly. As a kid from the
I don't care.
80s, I know, it's actually
I
not
don't
horrible.
care.
It's teaching them lessons.
I'll take you to the library.
Okay, but I just need to say, as a kid from the 80s, book fair was so essential. And for the kids in the 80s and early 90s that would go to book fairs and either parents didn't have the resources or just were like, you can get one book, or we're just like, no, we're not going to participate. Now I feel like they overindulge with book fair for their kids. They're like, oh no, we're getting all the books because it's like this like childhood nostalgic thing. So
Okay, yeah.
you're not in the
So
wrong. It's just a cultural difference.
it is. And I'm in the culture with all these parents doing that. And I'm just like, not going
Why?
to do it.
But
Because I just,
you're probably like, why are they doing this? And you're like, but you don't know the
yes,
culture of like, oh, they didn't
they
they
felt
felt
deprived.
deprived. Yeah. And there was nothing worse than
Well,
going to
that's
the
how
book
my
fair.
kid's going to feel.
Yeah, it's fine because
My
they're
kid's going to feel like that. Except for I know they're not deprived because we have access to lots of books and
okay.
they'll get books. Like I buy my kids books for Christmas
It's like
or
going to prom. You know what I mean? It's just that it's just one of those cultural I can only speak for the, US experience. It's just like one of those milestones. It's getting your driver's license, it's going to homecoming, it's going to your first football game, and it's going to the Scholastic Book Fair when you're, 9 years old.
well, I
Just
went to
saying.
the first I went to my first football game as an adult, as a parent of a ninth
There you
grader.
go.
And
Yeah.
that was a cultural experience
Right?
and a half.
Yeah.
I felt like I had just stepped into like a totally different culture. I had to process it.
Yeah.
I think I talked to you about it because I was just like, what is happening right now? I don't understand this culture. I don't understand why there's so much like hype about this. It
Yeah.
was very bizarre to me. I was just like, what is happening? They had posters
Yeah.
of students
It's a
on the
big
fence.
thing.
They had like
Yes.
a whole, I know. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. In fact, my kid actually was in the band. I was there to see the band.
Mhm.
And I was just like, what's all that? Why aren't we cheering for them? They've been working like so hard. And they actually, anyway, I have a
They
lot
get
of
cheered
feelings
for
around
too. Yes. Oh, yes.
American football. And then my son played football the following year. And I was just like, I cannot participate. I tried and I would to an extent. And I hoped that I made him feel supported. But I was just like,
It's not your
this
thing.
is a piece of American culture that I don't like.
Mhm.
And now people are going to hate on me because people are so into their football. But I'm telling you, it is very cultural. And I just didn't grow up here.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's fine. I have to say, I mean, I appreciated when I worked with students that they were all in sports and I got to go to the games and stuff and cheer for them. I only like to go to one or two because it gets cold and I'm, a fragile little butterfly and like to be inside. But there is something about the phenomenon of like back to school. It's now, in high school, middle school, it's now football season. You're going to go to games, you're going to
yeah.
get some concessions,
Yeah.
in a lot of towns, it's like the hot ticket on a Friday night. So I don't know. It's just one of those
Yeah,
things. But I have
it
to say,
is. It's very interesting.
one of the joys that I have is that like back to school is like to me the official start of fall. So it's just like it's my
Mhm.
favorite time of the year. Like I can't tell you, my seasonal depression is leaving my body as the sun fades every single day and the
But
heat diminishes. I'm so excited.
yeah.
I know it's the
Yeah.
reverse for you.
It's the reverse for me because I'm just like, it's like slipping away and I'm going to sink into this abyss of darkness and cold that
Ah,
I
I can't
also
wait.
reject.
I'm
I
just
also
like,
reject it.
oh,
I want to hold on to every last degree,
of
every
heat.
last degree of heat. Please linger, stay longer.
I
So there's my joy slash woe. It's just like,
I I
I
can't
had that on here.
wait.
Cooler weather. I can embrace the cooler weather, but the problem for me is that it's like a the precursor to what I know is coming. So I always
Yeah.
have a hard time embracing the fall because even though I love it and I love the cooler weather, it's just like, oh no, I start to dread the winter.
Oh my gosh, winter is coming and I'm here for it. I mean, I'm savoring every moment of this fall. Like we have
Good.
we're just kind of finishing up our last like bit of like hot, quote unquote. We always have like that 1 week in like September-ish, like the first week or two where it's like you get that little bump of heat and then we're going to go right to the 70s. I already have all of my flannels, my hoodies, my sweatshirt, everything is ready to go.
Did you do really? See, I need to do that soon because I just still have all my sundresses and like all my summer stuff. And I have to I don't have enough room in my closet to have everything all my
Yeah.
all seasons accessible at the same time. So I'm gonna have to switch
Switch
that
it
over
over.
soon.
No, I already like moved the things that are cooler to an area of my closet I don't care about, or like for cooler or for warmer weather. And then like all my cold stuff is now like front and center. Like the other day I wanted to put sweatpants on and I was like, too soon. I'm like, it's too
Yeah,
soon,
it's
but you're
still
so close. You're so close. So I love it.
Oh, that's so
I
funny.
love it.
That's great. Back to school, it signifies
There we go.
signifies
Hmm.
signify I can't talk. Signifies the mentality of like a fresh start.
Oh, okay.
Everybody is in my household like they're all starting like a fresh
Mm,
year. They've got new teachers, they're in new classes. It's the anticipation of like what's this year going to be like?
hmm.
There's just energy and excitement around that and a feeling of just like fresh start. Like nobody's like sick of school right now.
Yeah.
Nobody's got anything hanging over their heads. Nobody's stressed about past due assignments and things that are work that they have to do. It's like they're fresh. They're like ready
Hmm.
for the beginning and just it's a fresh start. I love that. I love that feeling. And
Yeah.
so that's a joy in my opinion.
It is strange how, like, especially when you have kids or you work with kids, it's like your year doesn't go January through December. It's really like September or whenever your school starts through summer, or through the beginning of summer.
Mhm.
So yeah, I
Yeah,
agree
it
with that
is.
fresh start. Like, yeah, it does kind of feel like, okay, I got a new planner. I'm gonna write everything down this year. Like I'm a new person. That
Yeah.
doesn't
It's a
last that
new
long.
grade. And there's like a new identity for these
Hmm.
kids because it's like now they are, a sixth grader. Now
Oh
they're
yeah.
a freshman or whatever. And so, and there's like a lot of expectations around that identity,
Hmm.
you know?
Absolutely. I
Like people are already like posting things on social media about their senior. It's
Yeah.
their senior year.
Oh
And it's
yeah.
like, and I'm
Senior
like, oh,
Sunday. Yeah.
yeah,
Gotta
I gotta
post a
figure out
picture
what that is by next
every
year.
single Sunday, you gotta post a picture of them
That's what
throughout
that
the
is?
years.
Okay.
Yeah, to celebrate them. It's I don't know,
Yeah.
it's fun. I also love seeing, like, the transition of, like, I have students that went from, like, high school, now they're starting college, so just to see them, like, in their little posting about college and stuff and joining
Yeah.
sororities and fraternities and just, I love I especially love that transition of school year from, like, you've been with the same people for, 12, 13 years to now you're at college and you start to see people's like personalities start to come out more and different things that maybe they were into
Yeah,
that
just
they
like
like.
finding out who they are.
Yeah, like I had an intern that just went away to college and my biggest piece of advice to her was just like, just say yes to everything. Go do experiment and do stuff, you know, that's not dangerous. And by dangerous, I mean, yeah, go bungee jumping if you can, but don't do like, you know, hardcore drugs or something. But
Yeah.
it's just like, I just think that's so empowering when it's just like I love it because the whole world is open to them right now, where it's like, I feel as the older you get, sometimes the more narrow your world gets, just because, you know, I would love to just drop
Because
everything and go to Scotland. But guess what? Mama's got to pay for two cats. You know, I have very,
yeah.
very demanding roommates. So, and you know,
Yeah.
I got a 401k to fund. So it just sometimes your world just gets more like narrow in like what you can just jump at and do.
Yeah. You have like responsibilities and stuff.
Yeah, and your bandwidth, right? Like it's like, oh, this really cool thing is happening in town, but it starts at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Guess who's not going? Me. Like it's just not going to
Right.
happen. Like it's
Right.
impossible.
Another thing that came to my mind thinking about this was just like the new clothes. Like
Oh,
we already kind of
yeah.
mentioned it when you like switch out your wardrobe, but like for my kids, they get a few new outfits because they've grown
Mhm.
and it's part of like something that they actually need. You know, they've worn their stuff out and they don't fit
Mhm.
anymore. And so that's always something that's like anticipated. It can be stressful too because like trying to
Girl,
find this
the right look? Yes.
the right look, but also like stuff that fits properly
Mhm.
and like you feel like it can be kind of overwhelming. The shopping part can be really overwhelming. But it's also exciting and fun.
Oh, yeah. I just had a flashback. The year 1994. I'm in 8th grade. I am going to a dance at the school and I need a new outfit. It happened to be Valentine's Day, so not quite back to school, but nonetheless, I needed a new outfit. And our town was small, not a lot of options. And I remember we went to a Fred Meyer, which has clothing and groceries and automotive goods and gardening tools. It has a little bit of everything. I remember looking and it wasn't popping. And I forced my mom to drive me like 25 minutes to the next town to go to the Fred Meyer there, which looking back now, it's not that long of a drive, but it felt like basically we were driving like 2 hours somewhere. And I remember I finally found like this like super cute skirt and a little top and a jacket. And you would it was insane. I only wore it once. I looked adorable. And all of
You
that.
only wore it once?
Yeah, because I didn't wear skirts to school typically. I think I have a picture of it. I gotta
Yeah.
find it. It was such a vibe. It was
I would love
like
to see
it was
it.
such a vibe, and I'm like,
'Cause
but the fact that I like literally anything for fashion at that age, like, and it just makes me think
yes.
about like
Oh,
your
yes.
like that first look that you have on your first day of school. I'm like, this is gonna set the
Mhm.
tone for the year,
Right.
and so it's very
Right.
critical.
It is. It
Okay,
is.
another woe that I have is this. New drivers. A lot of students got licenses over the summer and are not well
Yeah.
versed in driving. And then sometimes it turns cold here pretty quick. And it's like you have all these new drivers that are trying to drive on the highway with all of the like work drivers, not knowing what they're doing, signaling late, not signaling. I'm like, oh,
It's terrifying.
it's
It's terrifying.
very
It's
terrifying.
terrifying being the parent of one of those new drivers. Let me just say that. It's quite terrifying.
Yeah. Is he driving to school this year?
Yeah, I mean, he was even last year when our vehicle's available for him. He doesn't have his own car.
Oh, got it.
But Tony's been riding his bike or running to work, and so when he does that, then
He
our
can.
son can use our van. But,
The
so
van.
he's been using it quite a bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
quite a bit.
Yeah,
It's
it's
terrifying.
terrifying.
Whew, well, I'm getting to the end of my list,
Okay.
and I will say that this is last on my list, but it is definitely not least.
Okay.
And I have a feeling that I have said this before, and you are not going to be surprised. And anyone who's listening is not going to be surprised. But do you know what back to school signifies in my household, particularly my kitchen?
What? Soup?
Soup
Oh my
season!
gosh.
Of course! Soup season.
Mhm.
So I haven't made soup all summer, probably not. I haven't made soup for months.
Mhm.
And I am about to I'm going to try a couple new recipes, I think,
Mhm.
this year because I've got several that I make regularly, but I'm going to change it up. I'm going to make some new soups. And I'm telling you, Beth,
I mean,
you would not, I don't think you would survive if you were my child because we've talked about this
no.
many times. But I love soup. I love soup so much. There's so much so many different kinds of soup, and it's such a comfort food, and I love soup, and I will be making soup very soon.
Okay. I get it. I have saved more soup recipes this year than any other time. I have to still say they are not watery
Are you
soups. They are
are you gonna forward them to me? No.
they're almost like
Nothing. No.
dips. Like they're hot dips
Yeah.
essentially that you just scoop up with some bread.
Well, yeah.
But
There's one I'm gonna
here for
try.
that.
It's like a lasagna. It's a lasagna soup. Like what?
Oh.
I'm gonna try that.
Okay. I've heard of that before.
You said
It sounds interesting.
the way you just said, oh,
because to me it just sounds like you take a Stouffer's or Stouffer's, I don't even know what it's called, lasagna, you cook it in the oven and then you dump it into a crock pot and you pour some like bone broth on it, add some cheese, and maybe like,
no.
and stir it up. I know that's not the reality, but that's what I'm picturing. So of course it just sounds real rough.
That sounds terrible.
I'm sure it'll be delicious. Here's to the soup. If you're enjoying the podcast and would like to support the show, you can share episodes with your friends and family, follow us on Instagram at the Geriatric Millennials, or leave us a positive review and rating, all which help us to grow. Our theme music was created by the Finley Ghost. Check out their latest album now. Thank you so much.